Hello, Emily. Welcome to your interview for PJ, Puppets Jefferson Elementary School. I have a few questions for you. Are you ready?
Sure thing.
Okay. Comprehension activities and instruction are very different for kindergarten and second grade. Would you please describe the approaches you would take for instruction for those two grades and let us know why those approaches are developmentally appropriate?
Sure. Well, while components of literary instruction, including oral language, reading, writing, and word study, are vitally important in kindergarten and second grade, the form that this instruction takes looks quite different in just a 3-year span. There's a 5 to 7-year-old shift developmentally, which marks the move into second grade and accounts for many of the differences in instructional approaches that are appropriate for kindergarten versus second grade. I will demonstrate the difference in instructional approaches I would take by focusing on the differences in writing and word study lessons in kindergarten and second grade. As a kindergarten teacher, my focus for writing instruction is on forming uppercase and lowercase letters, writing their own first and last names, and beginning to express their ideas through basic phonetic spelling. I would approach these objectives through participation in interactive writing of a range of genres in a modified writer's workshop, and also using interactive writing or dictations of student drawings. I would have direct instruction focused on letter formation and lots of time for individual student practice. By second grade, there's a move towards a more systematic writing procedure that includes planning, editing, and revising. Second grade students are able to edit writing for correct grammar, capitalization, punctuation, and spelling, as they can think metacognitively about their own work. To support this type of writing, I would include writing centers for second graders that had time for planning and revising. In terms of word study, as Barbara Fox explains in her book on phonics, letter-sound phonics look quite different from kindergarten to second grade. In kindergarten, I would use whole group reading of poems, word walls, and alphabet lines. These are developmentally appropriate activities because students at this level should be focused on knowing letter names, associating a sound with each letter, recognizing some onset and rhymes, and reading and spelling some word family words. By the end of second grade, students will be independent readers and should be reading words instantly, sounding out words only if they don't know them, building their reading vocabs, and speeding up their reading by chunking. This means second graders will make leaps and bounds in phonics and spelling knowledge by the end of the year. To support these phonics and spelling objectives, I would use differentiated groups to review vowel and consonant patterns, study prefixes and affixes with pocket charts, make personal dictionaries, and model efficient chunking and reading strategies often as a whole class. As Piaget's theory on developmental process supports, kindergarten is the time for instruction and focus on introduction and building the foundation of successful literacy in oral language, phonics, reading, and writing. By second grade, students have developed a theory of mind that allows them to include others' perspectives and have a better developed memory structure that allows them to effectively draw upon prior knowledge. So in second grade, my literacy instruction would primarily be focused on developing literary skills and working towards fluency.
Very interesting. Thank you. Okay, we have an increasing number of English language learners in our school. How would you modify your instruction to promote their oral language development?
Well, having an understanding of my students' primary language will be an important part of supporting their oral language development in English. For example, Spanish speakers are using the 24 sounds from their language and contrasting and comparing them to the 44 sounds of English. Words Their Way has a great table of difficult consonant sounds in English for Spanish speakers. I would clearly explain the different sounds between students' primary language and English and acknowledge that it's normal to be confused. I might also use more picture sorts to encourage English language learners to think about the sounds that letters make and focus on oral language development at the same time they're working on word study. English language learners need more time practicing single consonant sounds or blends, and using pictures would encourage them to sort by sound instead of just letter patterns. Pairing English language learning students with English-speaking partners will help them by providing the English names to pictures, but also their partner will act as the native English model. I will also build oral language activities around material that includes my English language learner students' cultural and experiences in order to connect my lesson objectives to their life experiences in home language. I will encourage ELL students to speak about their home life experiences so that they feel valued in the classroom and therefore, hopefully, more comfortable speaking. I will encourage families to speak and read with their child in their home language, as Miller et al. Found that children with better competence in their home language have better comprehension of texts written in their home language and in English, which underlies the importance of oral language with the rest of literacy development. I will especially emphasize read-alouds in my classroom, as they are important for all students, but I will use predictable books to practice and reinforce English language patterns and vocab for my ELL students.
Wonderful. Okay, time for your final question. We've been talking about revisions to our primary grade writing instruction program. Could you describe a progression of instruction from preschool through second grade?
Certainly. This progression is based on the Virginia Literacy Writing Scope and Sequence. Pre-K and early kindergarten will be basic introduction to writing as a form of communication and will focus on shared writing activities. Kindergarten and first grade will focus on the skills of written communication, while second grade would mark the jump to writing instruction focused more on composition and written expression, and is therefore more individual. This progression would begin with pre-K, as children are developing an awareness that ideas can be written. The role of teacher is to facilitate students' writing exploration as they begin to generate ideas about how written language works. Writing language instruction will focus on shared writing activities like group writing lists, but also allow children to attempt writing on their own. Pre-K attempts will look like scribbling to start, but after teachable modeling and exposure to written words, they will be able to distinguish print from pictures and form a few letters on their own. In kindergarten, writing instruction will continue to focus on shared and interactive writing, as their beginning writings will include drawings, scribbles, and letter approximations. But by the end of kindergarten, they will be experimenting with phonetically spelled words. Students will begin to learn and develop legible handwriting in the place of drawings and scribbles, so handwriting should be directly and systematically taught and practiced. Students should also learn that writing is used for a variety of purposes, including sharing events, telling stories, making reports, labeling, making lists, and responding to literature. This can be modeled during whole group writing instruction and practiced through guided writing. In first grade, students continue to learn and develop neat, legible handwriting, and as they work on writing whole words, handwriting and spacing should be directly and systematically taught through whole group modeling and practiced individually. Writing is becoming especially productive in first grade because their knowledge of letter-sound correspondence and sight word vocabulary increases. Students will now be able to use these skills to put their ideas and thoughts on paper. First graders will also begin to revise and edit selected pieces of their writing, and independent practice becomes especially important. In second grade, students will continue to practice writing daily, and individual writing becomes a major focus of instruction. Students are expected to revise selected pieces and share them with others. Now when students practice writing stories or letters in Writer's Workshop, the instructional emphasis is on having a beginning, middle, and end, and using sequencing words. At the sentence level, students begin to elaborate on their ideas and use basic conventions of writing. These are both aspects of writing that can be modeled during shared or interactive writing. Students also begin to apply written communication skills across content areas, so writing will become an important part of science and social studies instruction as well. Individual writing practice will be quite important, and teachers can conduct individual conferences with students about their writing as students become more metacognitive.
Fantastic, Emily. I just have one question for you. Did you go to Curry?